All right, I'm not going to waste any of your time. This is how you're going to get a very fast physique by utilizing steroids that nobody else is going to tell you. Most people will say don't touch this stuff, okay? It's getting very saturated. A lot of people are taking these compounds and they're getting very fast physiques, but they're running into a lot of sides, okay? That's why a lot of people are telling you not to take these compounds. There's a safe way to take these, and I'm going to guide you through exactly what to do in this video. The best piece of advice I can offer you is to get bloods. Get your pre-set of labs done, get your mid-set of labs done, and post after the cycle is complete. This is absolutely the number one way that you can stay safe when you're taking these compounds, and it really is the only way to understand what's happening internally in your system. Your preset of labs will show you how your system is reacting naturally before you take the compounds. You have to have a good baseline of how your system is working before gear so that you understand what you're running into currently, if you're running into any complications, if you have any genetic predispositions to any problems. You want to know this prior. If your liver's out of whack, if your AC and ALT are already skyrocketed, you have to understand that you already have a liver problem and you probably shouldn't touch orals. If you get your preset of labs done and you have thickened blood, your RBC hematocrit hemoglobin is already increased, then you have to understand you're probably going to be prone to elevated blood thickness and increased blood clot risk on your blast. If you have cholesterol problems before HDL and LDL are out of whack, you're going to run into increased cardiovascular risk, and you probably should steer clear of this shit. So preset of labs is very crucial. Now your mid set of labs is going to tell you how your body is reacting while the cycle is peaked in your system. You want to understand the worst possible effects that these compounds are going to have on your system, and the best way to do that is by getting that mid set of labs done. This will show you the damage being done and what to counteract on your blast if you are running into problems. Let's say that you're taking tests, you see that your E2 or estradiol is increasing or it's tanking due to AI overuse. You will be able to see this based on your mid set of labs, and you will be able to make a change properly. And this is assuming the fact that you understand what to do to counteract this. If you don't, go check out my steroid bootcamp. I will link it up here. It'll tell you everything you need to know about counteracting sides. Now your post set of labs is very crucial as well after your post psychotherapy, after your cruise, or during your cruise if you're more advanced, to tell you if you have rebounded properly, restored your natural hormone production, and to make sure that your body is back into baseline once the compounds are fully out of your system, everything has exited, and your PCT is completed. Your post set of labs is one of the most important sets of blood work that you're going to get during this whole process. This will be able to tell you if your luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone values are back up into range. They have to be back up into that optimal baseline. They can't be crashed, because if they are crashed, that means that you have not recovered properly and your natural hormone production is not intact. That means you're putting yourself at massive risk of shutdown if you decide to hop on an additional cycle in the future, okay? Now, every time you go to get your labs done, there are 4 crucial panels that you have to get taken care of: your CBC, lipid panel, CMP, and your full hormone panel. Every time you get your labs, you get these 4 sets done. That is your complete blood count, comprehensive metabolic panel, lipid for cholesterol, and full hormone panel once again. Your CBC is going to make sure that your blood is flowing smooth. The CMP is for organs. Full hormone is, of course, for testosterone, estrogen, prolactin, thyroid, shit to that nature. And then your lipid is for cholesterol, making sure your cardiovascular system is intact. As long as you make sure all 4 of these panels are tested, you will have a very solid understanding of what's happening internally during the blast, prior to the blast, and after the cycle is completed. So these are absolutely mandatory to get at least 3 times during that cycle, pre, mid, and post. Now, another very crucial part of this whole process is your heart. You have to make sure that you're not running into a genetic issue. Look at Ziz, for example. Look at these bodybuilders that hopped on gear that did not understand they had a pre-existing heart condition, and look at what happened. It's very unfortunate when people do this. Just a lack of knowledge, lack of awareness. This can cause problems. You have to ensure that you do not have a heart condition. So what you're going to do is get an EKG, get an ECG. Okay, you either want to get an electrocardiogram and get an echocardiogram. The EKG is going to be the most important and most common that you're going to get. This will just make sure you don't have any arrhythmia as your heart is pumping smooth and there aren't any issues. Now, if anything pops up on that EKG, you want to get an echocardiogram. This is going to be an ultrasound of your heart. This will tell you if you have a specific condition. There's a leaky valve of some sort, so you have any type of arrhythmia, it'll show you there. Then the next thing you have to do is make sure that your fertility is in check. You have to make sure that your semen volume is in that optimal range. If you ever decide to reproduce in the future, for whatever reason it is not, and it's suboptimal, you have to understand that hopping on a cycle will increase the risk of infertility. Always make sure your fertility is in check before even considering hopping on a blast. And you also want to make sure that when you come off afterwards, that you get this done as well. Now, I understand that getting this shit done is very inconvenient. It can be a massive obstacle, and it just sucks to have to do all this beforehand, during, and after, but it is really the only way that you're going to remain safe taking these compounds. You can just make the conscious decision to not do any of this and just act like nothing's happening. For a lot of people that works, but for a lot of people that causes a catastrophe and it causes problems. And when you run into those problems, which is inevitable taking these compounds, you're not going to understand how to reverse the effects and what exactly is happening to you. So you won't be able to mitigate the problem. But if you take this properly, you are data driven, you look at all your health prereqs and you look at the data that's happening internally in your system via your labs, your heart function test, and your fertility, you're going to be in a lot better position than someone who's not doing this, and you will get fast gains while remaining healthy at the same time. So I wish you the best of luck. Make sure you're on top of all this shit, and I will see you guys in the next one.